I think our story began when my husband had his knee replacement, and we thought the recovery was just the knee replacement. But his heart stopped during the operation, and he was oxygen deprived. And since that time, several doctors have said, well, if your husband hadn't had a knee replacement, he'd be perfectly normal. And I know that Cure Alzheimer's is doing a study on the effects of anesthesia with people over 65 and dementia. But there is no definitive answer yet. And he needed the knee replacement because his knee was killing him and he couldn't walk, and he was a very active, athletic type of man. When I first realized we had a problem, we were coming back from California. We were in an airport, and my husband was a world traveler. And he couldn't find his way from the desk of our airlines to the men's room and back again. He got lost. And when he came back to me, I said to him, honey, I think we have a problem. And the reason was that his eyes were totally glazed, and he was staring ahead as if he just didn't know where he was. He was in a very confused state. And we went back to our home and went to a doctor who gave him a test. And the test was an MRI test, and another test was a written test. And this is a test that is not that great, but it's what they had at the time. Since then, Ohio State University has come up with a terrific test that you're supposed to take once a year. It's called the SAGE test, and you can download it on your computer and do it yourself at home. But anyway, we're at the doctor's office, and he has 30 questions to ask, such as spell world backwards, subtract 7 from 100 all the way down to 0. And what are your grandchildren's names? Who is the President of the United States? What county are you in? What is the state you're in? And my husband on the first test got 27 out of 30. And when we went to another doctor about 10 months later, it was down to 18 out of 30, until finally it was down to 11 out of 30, and then the test wasn't administered anymore because he could not answer the questions. My husband was very aware that he had Alzheimer's from day one, and he made it a proactive decision for us to move along the way we always did. We've, in our 54 years together, 54 married and 55 together, we were a very proactive, purpose-driven couple. And he took Alzheimer's as a project. We were going to find a cure, we were going to live a quality of life, and we were going to move forward. And those were my marching orders, and I gladly did that because I felt as though we would find a cure. Sadly, we didn't. The 7 years progressed, and the disease is one of progression and plateaus, and you never know when one plateau is going to descend into another step. And I'll give you a very good example of this so that you can be aware of it. My husband was a bicycle rider. He loved his bicycle. And he'd ride and ride and ride. And one day, because I was not getting very much sleep at night, he wandered. I took a nap because he was reading in the living room. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call. It was from the gym. And they said, do you know where Glenn is? Because they had told me that they didn't want him on his bicycle due to the balance being an issue. And I said, well, yeah, he's in the living room reading. And he said, oh, no, he isn't. He's right here at the gym working out. And he rode his bicycle here. And I went, oh, my heavens, keep him there. I'll be right over. And I went, and it broke my heart because when he came out of the gym, he said, I feel so alive. And that made me happy. And I said, well, let's put the bike in the back of the car and we'll get home. We did. And then the following week, maybe 5-6 days later, I thought, well, if he can ride his bike over to the gym by himself, then we can do the bike riding that we love to do together. He didn't know how to put on his helmet. He did not know how to get on the bike. He didn't know what the bike was for, and he had no balance. That was in probably 6 days' time. And that's how fast that next step came. Unannounced, and it just happened. The other thing, if I have a regret about the whole 7 years, 54 years is not enough time with him. I adored him. But my big regret is that I don't have his voice anywhere. And he gave talks and he gave seminars, and I can't find a tape. I can't find anything. So I would make a suggestion to you. If you have a loved one and they have the disease, before they stop talking, record their voice. I don't even have it on an answering machine because I can't find it. So please record the voice. You will want to hear it. And just enjoy every minute that you have, because the minutes change and we know the end.